up, Drum Fam? Zoe here. Now, normally I don't make videos like this, although I do from time to time. This is more of a rambling video of me talking about stuff that I need to get off my chest because I don't have the ability to put in a blog, or I don't have time to explain everything in different formats. And honestly, there's been a lot on my mind. From everything that's happening in the world to everything that's happening in my world. As some of you or a lot of you may know by now, I moved into an apartment. I spent a good year or so, yeah, more than a year, about almost a year and a half in the RV, living the RV life. And I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I had some great trips. I was able to deck it out to turn into what I consider like one of the ultimate RV setups for flying. It's all the accoutrements like solar and backup battery bank and mobile internet. It was a lot of fun. And, for the longest time, I thought that was going to be my life, at least for a few months until I moved here to San Diego. And before that, I thought my life was going to be all about flying and being a full-time freestyle pilot. Um, and that was kind of the thing. Is like for the longest time, for about 5 years, I was sold on this idea that I could be a full-time freestyle racing pilot without being, signed to DRL or whatever. And realistically, it's really hard, especially when it's hard for me to travel, especially out of the country, due to my chronic pain issues and whatnot. And a lot of the prize money in the United States has kind of gone away. And over time, it became harder and harder to make it a viable career path. And that was pretty disheartening because when I got into drone racing, I was in a rough part of my life. I mean, I was dealing with surgeries upon surgeries, trying to fix my broken body, and trying to deal with extreme chronic pain. It's gotten better over time, but back then it was pretty intimidating. And I ended up getting into drones and FPV because I wanted to escape my body. I wanted to get out into the world around me, and it provided that. And then I ended up winning my first FPV race, which was the first AMA sanctioned race in the United States, like the first official race. We had an audience. It was in what I consider my hometown, Santa Cruz, California, and I won. And the organizer at the time, Scott Refslin, said, "Hey, Zoe, in 6 months you can make this your full-time career and living." And I wanted to believe him, and I did. And I honestly saw the bright future that could be drone racing. I mean, we were at a very exciting time. Drone racing was just becoming a thing. A few months ago, it didn't exist. And now all of a sudden we have, drone races and now drone nationals and Dubai and all these big races happening, getting on ESPN and on TV and news everywhere. And me being featured on ESPN, me being on local TV, I have had several documentary crews follow me around before. So for me, I thought that was going to be the future. And I wanted it to be the future because I was good at it. It was my passion, and I loved the challenge. That was one of the things that really got me, was it gave me this focus outside of myself that I could put myself into and not have to worry about myself, which is a weird thing to think about or say. I don't know if that makes sense, but it gave me this focus and drive I didn't have in my life. And honestly, up until a point of where I could no longer make it work, December-ish of 2018, I hung in until the very end, until I basically couldn't afford rent in Santa Cruz, California. And at that point in time, I guess the illusion of that dream came shattering down. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking the fact that I couldn't afford Santa Cruz, California anymore. It was heartbreaking that there wasn't really a healthy local industry in Santa Cruz, and traveling to San Francisco and stuff was difficult. And it was rough because I lived there the majority of my life, and that was my home. On top of realizing that flying freestyle and drone racing really wasn't paying the bills. And also at the same time with X Class drone racing, I felt like internally shot myself and then shot itself in the foot. Um, it's still really rough to talk about and something I really don't touch on a lot, but I was the one that pushed to have X Class drone racing start in 2016. I went to one of my better sponsors, Tattoo, and I'm like, hey guys, sponsor this race. Let's do some giant drone racing. I edited the first X Class drone racing video. Um, like that is my legacy. And then I helped start the quote unquote business when several of the people in the group wanted to turn it into a business. And even though I had my reservations, I went along for that journey. And that's where things became kind of frustrating internally with that, is because people wanted to turn it into something it wasn't. And in the process of that, internal conflict ensued, not just between me, but several people within the group. Even got to the point where several of the members said, if you're not going to do this, we're going to break off from X Class Road Racing and do it ourselves somewhere else. And that was a point when I realized that it wasn't about the dream of making it happen anymore. It was about some people's dream of making money off of it. That was really disheartening. And there's several other things I won't really get into, but there was still a lot of backstabbing going on, and there's a lot of, it was very insane to go through, which, started what I felt like out of a passion to make it happen and doing everything in my power to promote and create it, to people trying to profitize off the success of it. It was difficult. And all that was happening at the same time as, realizing that drone racing really wasn't going to be something I could do full time, and freestyle wasn't going to pay the bills ever. I mean, even if I become a massive YouTuber, especially in California, it's just not going to pay the bills. I mean, it's just not. So that was a huge realization for me, and that was when I kind of realized, I needed to have some change in my life. Maybe this is the moment where I can create that change. And initially, I had a lot of outpouring of support from one of the videos I made at the time, which some of you may know or remember, but UAV Future saw it, they promoted it, and said, hey, we gotta help, we gotta save, like, it was basically entitled End of a Living Legend, or End of a Legend, quote unquote, I think it was his video. And at the time, it felt like it was the end of my legend. It was, and not to say that I'm a legend, but it felt like it was the end of my, like, I don't know, path within this, and everything that I've done. And that was disheartening. But the outpouring of support that I got was amazing. From my own video, someone in Steve in 29 Palms, California, offered to give me an RV. I needed a lot of work, but it was mine if I could get it running. And it's kind of one of those barnyard finds that people talk about, where it has very low miles. It was running when it was left sitting. And then due to sitting for about 10 years, that needed some TLC. So I was able to get some friends together, use the donations that I got from people to help get it running, and my Patreon flourished, and I was really set on this idea, at least for a few days / a week while I was getting it going, that I was going to make that my life. I was going to travel around the United States slowly, go to different areas, fly different areas, create videos out of the RV, and that was going to be my new life. Like basically an end to racing, quote unquote, end to freestyle, and just focus on creating content and trying to make that my new path forward. I mean, it was a hodgepodge. I don't think I would stop racing completely, but it was, even had the idea of doing X Class on the road, being able to take equipment with me to different locations, hosting races and events, doing some freestyle events and competitions. Like, I saw this as my opportunity to take the goodwill of the community, invest within it, and then continue doing largely what I was already doing, but doing it completely differently. And that vision started to change when I got contacted by Hess Systems here in San Diego, California. Hess Systems, one of my employer, basically, helped me start Outcast DroneWorks as a offshoot of the company where we just focus on drone related activities, mostly headed by me and most of my brainchild. But Larry, my boss, has contributed a great deal to it, and he has contributed a lot to the vision of it, of what it's going to be, how we can create new exciting products. And it's been really exciting because, through all of my history within drone racing and competing and whatnot, one of the things that I've always done is helped innovate, whether it be help companies create the first set of X-Class drone racing components, which have been used by DRL, DR1, X-Class, MultiGP's Mega Class. Like, I helped set the standard for that. And from 3D flying, where I helped create the first, set of 3D products for the market. I've worked with GemFan, I've worked with HQ, Master Airscrew, Racecraft, IQ Motion Control, pretty much any company that has done anything 3D related within the drone space, I've had some sort of relation to in some way. So that's been one of my huge passions, is just innovation, and so that I haven't been really focusing on just flying anymore. My primary focus has actually been within that innovation, bringing what I've been doing in the past to a more commercial aspect here in San Diego with Outcast DroneWorks and Has Systems. And that's been a new adventure for me, one that I'm not really familiar with. I've never, worked in the environment that I'm working in. I've never had people's expectations on my shoulders. I haven't had to deal with employees or working in an office culture before. So it's been a new learning curve for me, so to speak. And it's one that I've enjoyed. And don't get me wrong, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think life now, the path that I've taken, it has been one that's been very good for me. And there is an or I should say there's a but. I do miss being able to focus full time on one thing. Right now, it feels like my attention is drawn in 50 different directions. And that makes it hard for me to focus on 3D or focus on content creation or focus on basically one thing. And when your attention's drawn in a bunch of different locations, it's really hard, I feel like, to, what the phrase is, it's better to full-ass something than half-ass something. And I feel like I'm half-assing a lot of stuff in my life. I mean, it's been a okay juggle, but it's also been frustrating because there's so much that I want to do and get done, but I only have so much time, energy, really. And then moving into my apartment and dealing with family issues has been a whole thing that's put a drain on me. And then, dealing with the stresses of getting products shipped out to customers has put a stress on me that I haven't had before. While maintaining my YouTube channel, maintaining my Patreon, and trying to foster friends that I have here in San Diego. Like, I have a fairly awesome set of friends here in San Diego, people that aren't strictly in the drone community, which is nice. And then I have a lot of friends in the drone community that I consider like dear friends, people that I hang out with outside of flying. And so I'm very thankful for that. But trying to juggle everything has been a struggle for me. And it's frustrating because there's so much I want to get done, but I only have so much, again, time, energy to put into it. But I'm starting to get better at it. And I mean, as you can see, I've got like circles under my eyes. Those haven't always been there. The last 2 months, I've had more circles under my eyes than I've had in the last several years. Even with all the pain and suffering I went through years ago, I still feel in some ways more run down now than I was, which is surprising. And I still deal with chronic pain too. That's the other thing too. It's like a silent thing that I deal with. I tell friends I deal with it. And most of the time when I'm in pain, I just stay silent about it because there doesn't seem to be a use in complaining about it. I mean, sometimes, friends get tired of hearing about it and I don't want to bog them down with my struggles. So that's difficult. But I have got to move on from it. Like, I realize now that it's going to be a part of my life and I have to keep pushing forward. And largely, haven't let it kept me from pushing forward. I've continued on my path regardless of what I'm going through. And I think that's important um, within my life to keep doing that. I guess this video is just kind of like a retrospective because I've been thinking about it a lot lately. From my past, the trauma I went through, and the fact that I was going through trauma, and especially with pain, that it was like trauma that happened again and again and again every time I had a flare up, creating almost like a PTSD where it puts me in such a weird headspace. And I realize now it wasn't serving me. And for the last year or so, I've actually gotten pretty good about it. But then recently, with all the stress of everything else going on in my life, a pain flare up, basically just kind of took me out. Like stress plus pain equals fragility, kind of. And I've got to realize I got to be kinder to myself. I've got to let go of the past. I can't let it hold me down when I'm already feeling I'm being held down. And I'm getting better at that. Like, it's one of those things that you really have to kind of just deal with. I mean, everyone has their struggles in life. Everyone has the things that keep them down. And it's not about what keeps you down. It's about how you keep fighting and standing back up and going forward. That's the thing I think is what to focus on, because there's always going to be something holding me down. There's always going to be something holding me back. Life is not perfect. It's not easy. There are no easy answers to anything. There's always going to be stress. There's always going to be long nights of, at least for me, dealing with pain. And that's just the way it is. And, over time, and I still think going forward, I'm going to get better at it. And last year has been a crazy struggle with all the changes. And this is what I'm realizing. There's been a lot of changes in my life in the last year. I essentially went from living on the beach. Literally, for 2 months, I lived on a beach out of the RV with solar and everything else, to getting my first car, to getting my first apartment, to cleaning myself up in many ways for my appearance, although today I'm pretty ragged. I literally am in the no F's given mindset right now as far as my appearance go. But, I've actually been generally cleaning myself up quite a bit, being more presentable, not wearing a bunch of FPV drone related t-shirts all the time, wearing stuff that's more flattering, to just, in general, focusing on things that make my life better. And, even dealing with, helping my mom work through her stuff. I mean, she tried to help me through a lot of my past with pain and all suffering, and she was there for me through all the surgeries, and all that took a toll on her. And then it took a toll on our relationship. And so we've been working on that, and she's, getting better, I'm getting better, and we're kind of rebuilding in a better place now. So that's a lot. And I realize this is like the biggest thing I realize. I can't get rid of the RV. I just actually moved the RV to a new storage location. It's a lot closer than it was, and I'm going to be renovating it here over the next few months. Hopefully the next few months, to get ready for more trips and travel and fun and content creation. And just in case my life falls apart again, I'll still have that as a backup plan. And that's a big one for me, is that I don't have anyone to turn to. I don't have family to turn to. There's nothing. It's me. And that's a frightening it's a frightening thought. If things fall apart again, what do I have? And trying to create a pathway to where I have something at least is very reassuring. That being said, I hope my life doesn't fall apart again. I hope I can keep building on the successes that I've had, keep pushing things forward, and keep creating a better tomorrow for myself and others in my life. And that's, important. I know I'm rambling on. It's 20 minutes in, but... And well, I guess what's the point of this video? The point of this video is just kind of get what's on my mind onto camera and out to y'all. Because I feel like this is the other thing that it's been kind of frustrating for me is my channel. I have not posted as much content as I want to, and every time I feel like I'm about to start posting more content, life keeps throwing me curveballs. and I feel like I'm taken back by it, and I don't have the energy or time to post more content. And now with Outcast Droneworks, I'm going to be creating content for them on their channels, or my channels, or our channels. And so now I have my creative vision split in multiple directions, which makes it harder for me to focus on my own channel and creating content that you all enjoy. And so that is something I've been struggling with as well. Thankfully, I've been able to find a few editors that are going to be able to help me through that process, and they're amazing people. So I'm not super afraid of things going forward, but up until I found those editors, I was stressing out about it. But even to create videos, I'm looking at creating at least 2 videos a week, one for my channel, one for Outcast Droneworks. And if I'm editing them, it's going to take way too much time. If I'm going out to editors, then that means there's a delay in content being created. That's still, in my opinion, at least 2 full days out of my week. Then if I'm worried about flying and trying to fly or more than I am now, which is not much, unfortunately, I need to spend a lot of time on the bench, go through rigs, spend more money on that. And whereas before I had sponsors, I've kind of turned my back on sponsors because it's been kind of frustrating. I mean, competing with sponsors was fun, but it was also not fun in other ways. I mean, there's several competitions that I feel like I've lost because the sponsors had not gotten me the product that was promised on time. And that, like, Drone Nationals 2015 is the biggest example. I was supposed to have a battery handed to me for a fresh flight during the freestyle competition, and it never got to my hands. And then halfway through my flight, my battery gave out, and I had to land. Which was extremely unfortunate because I thought I could have taken first place if I had a full battery. Now I redeemed myself still by going to the last chance competition in Hawaii, the Aloha Cup, taking second place there, and then getting put into Drone Worlds, where I took second place in freestyle competition as well. So it wasn't such a sad story, but all those things it feels like it holds me back. And then it also means I can't use the products I want to use. I have to use products that are given to me. Meet contractual obligations with sponsors where I have to make X amount of videos a week, X amount of Instagram posts. Like, likewise, I was a prop company recently tried to get me to sign on with them as a pilot, and they were going to give me like $100 a month for all the props I could have, and then they were going to require me make at least 1 video a week plus Instagram posts for them on their products. Not just me, like, enjoying myself or doing it. I had to, like, advertise their products. And that's a lot of work for not a lot of, get. And, there's other companies like Newbie Drone. I'm not sponsored by Newbie Drone, but I am good friends with them, and they've always helped me out when I've needed it. So, like, I give a lot of love to them when I can. Simultaneously, if something goes wrong with the product that I get from them, I talk to them about it, and then, I don't speak bad about people that I like, essentially. And, Newbie Drone's awesome. They're like one of the few outliers in the industry where I feel like, when I need something, I can ask for it and they'll give it to me without any strings attached. And it's a beautiful thing. Whereas other companies, like the prop company I was talking about, put too many strings on everything. So all those things, create a stress in my life that, especially with like sponsorships, that it's just really frustrating because all I want to do is go fly and fun, innovate. And this is the biggest thing. I like working with companies to create new products, and not having sponsors actively means there's less companies I'm working with to create products. But I do have Outcast Droneworks, and we are working to create new products, so it's kind of fulfilled in a different way. And that's good. But it's different. And I really do miss just waking up in the morning and focusing on flying and drones and pushing the limits of what I can do with a drone. Because now I wake up, think about shipping stuff out, think about the next product release, think about the designs that need to get done, think about the set design, the next video we have to shoot for, making a product, slash advertising a product, slash whatever. And then think about, dealing with everything else in my life. And then I think about drones at the end of it. And that, I think, is the frustration for me, is because I do miss that. I really do miss just focusing on drones. I was much more focused, and I would dare say happier when I was just doing that. I could just focus on the content, pour my life and soul into it, and because of that, I felt like I was making better content than I have been lately. I think that's partially why my channel has been dying. I mean, that's another frustration. Like, the views on my channel have been going down. I mean, I was getting pretty good views back in 2016, 2017, and it just has not been remotely what it was. And I don't know if it's because of changed focus from the content I was making, if it was a personality thing, people just don't like me on film, if it was just YouTube's algorithms that were playing bad and not really, suggesting my videos anymore. I don't know. But either way, it's been kind of disheartening, and it makes it harder for me to want to just make content, and because I'm getting less views on it, which is frustrating. And there's a whole bit of flying. Every time I basically go out flying, it's with other people. It's not just me enjoying myself and pushing myself. It's with a group of friends or locals that want to go fly. And when I started flying, it was about me flying and my enjoyment of flying. And now I feel like every time I go out, there's an expectation from me or something. Like, people want to see me do my next crazy trick, or people want to see me push 3D, and I wouldn't say dirtied flying, but it just hasn't been the same. And while I really do like flying in groups, it's just different. So yeah. So there's been a lot of change in my life, to say the least. And it hasn't been bad. By far and large, it's not bad. It's just different. And I think that's why the video is being made, because things are different now. They're different than they were a year ago. They're different than they were a few years ago. And I still yearn to make content. I mean, half the reason why I've redone my apartment, like, you only see a small snapshot of it behind me, is to make better content, to have a cool backdrop, have a nice location, have workbenches where I can actually work on stuff, and easily make content without having to worry about things too much. And that's been a cool thing to be able to have in my life. But there's also the fact, and getting back to, it's not the first thing I wake up thinking about in the morning, it's just not. And I wish it was. There's just so many things going on in my life that it's hard for me to be as creatively focused as I was. And if I could snap my fingers and change things, I think I'd just go back to developing stuff full-time and flying full-time and making content. That's what I'm good at. That's what I enjoy the most. Having to manage production and all these other things that go along with Outcast Drumworks, while I do enjoy it on a lot of levels, it feels like it takes me out of the moment and takes me out of doing what I feel like I do best, which is, helping create the innovations versus being the one that creates the innovations directly. Because that takes a lot more time. Takes more time and effort, and it takes me away from testing. I mean, the Microhawk, I've been testing it quite a bit, but realistically, I've not been flying it as much as I want to. I just, the amount of time that I want to go fly and do stuff has been so diminished lately that it's been frustrating for me. And then on top of that, the whole world situation, like, things in the world are pretty messed up right now. I mean, more messed up than I've seen in my life. And when I talk to people that are much more experienced than I am in life, they also see the world as more messed up right now than it seems like it has been in the past. And that's kind of added a small edge of anxiety on everything for me, on top of everything else I'm already dealing with. So I guess that's just, what I'm going through. And it's a bit frustrating. I mean, I'm kind of bummed because, like, one of the biggest things I'm bummed about is, like, every month Road Right would get together for, like, almost a week. I go out and fly with them. It was a lot of fun. And then COVID happened, and now I don't get to do that nearly as much. And they had a get together this past week or so in Florida. And during that get together, the rates spiked so high that it looks like things might be on lockdown again. If that happens, I don't know. But it was pretty scary, and it feels like I dodged a small bullet. And at the same time, it also means that I don't know when I'm going to be resuming filming with them, which is frustrating for me because I love Rotor. I love hanging out with Drew. I love hanging out with Vanover, Nurk, Cricket, Orda. Um, they're like a second family to me. And every time I go out and fly, or, basically fly with them, like, it's a great dynamic. And they're the few pilots I feel like that really get me to push myself to a new level in my limits. And, I feel like my flying has gotten better since I started hanging out with them. Like, their styles rub off on me a little bit. Drew gives me some cool ideas for tricks. I break a couple drones trying those tricks. Then I get it right, and then it's cool. Um, and I miss that a lot. It's something that I can't really quite get with my local crew. And then also in the fact that we make content together. Content that a lot of people really enjoy watching. Like, that is something I quite cherish, and I hope to keep doing in the future, in some capacity. And no, I'm not quitting Road Riot. I'm just talking about my frustrations with, the atmosphere, the world we're currently living in that's making it harder for me to keep creating content with them. Um, and, I know it's been difficult for Road Riot in general to keep making content right now. The whole channel revolved around us getting together as pilots, hanging out, and making content. And now it's kind of the same-ish. I don't know. I mean, it's changed. We've done a lot of remote episodes. So, and I don't know when that's going to change. Like, I don't know when the world's going to get back to normal. I don't know if it'll ever get back to normal at this point. Um, so, yeah. I'm rambling on a little bit. I'm kind of trying not to keep this video too long because, I just need to get the things off my mind. And then also I want to talk to you a little bit about what I think about I'm going to do going forward. So, 4th of July weekend, I feel like might be one of the last weekends that San Diego in general is probably going to have before they lock stuff back down again due to the increased rates of COVID. So I am going to go on probably a one-person road trip. I don't even know where I'm going. I'm just going to pack my car, pack some clothing, pack my drones up, and just go. I'm going to do what's called a burning ceremony. So you write down your past, but like the issues that you've had, stuff that you want to let go. You write that stuff down, you burn it, bury it, and you let it be. It's kind of like a way of processing grief. Yeah. So I'm going to do that. Because like I said, I've got a lot of trauma in my past and I need to let go of it. And I want to let go of it. And I want to go into the future without it weighing me down. Because I know if it doesn't weigh me down anymore, I'm going to fly higher. I'm going to do more. And I'll be a better person for it. So, yeah, 4th of July, this next weekend, I am going to let all that go. And I'm hoping it'll be a return to me as a person, as someone who's excited about the future, who's so focused on all the good in their life that they forget about the bad, like I was years ago. Um, and I really think it's going to make a difference. It'll allow me to clear my head. I'll be gone for a few days, and like I said, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just going to get in my car and drive, and the universe will take me to where I need to be. Um, and I'm kind of excited about that because I have, faith now more than ever that I will get to where I need to go in my life. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be the best trip of all time, but it'll be good. Um, and so far, with all the struggles I've had in my life, I have somehow been able to manage and manifest good things from those struggles. Like, if I was never in the pain that I was in, if I never had the medical issues I had, I may never have found drones. If my career in drone racing and freestyle never failed, then I may never found my passion for creating projects with Outcast Droneworks and the family and friends I have here in San Diego. And so, from all the bad situations that I've had in my life, I feel like I've found good from them. When there's a yin, there's a yang, and it's something I'm starting to appreciate more. Not all bad things are truly bad if you give it proper perspective. Um, so, yeah, I hope to move forward in a great way. I hope to create more amazing content. I don't know what that's going to be yet. Like, I have access to really high end camera equipment now, but yeah, I'm filming this on a shitty Logitech webcam. Like, this could look so much better if I just use a proper camera for this, and I have one sitting right there, and I don't know, this was just easier. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure entirely what the future holds for me, but I'm gonna hold space that it's gonna be pretty freaking awesome. And I'm going to hold space for the fact that I'm probably going to get back into giant drones. I've got some plans for some giant drone designs going forward. Some X-Class size rigs that'll do some really cool stuff. I'm still planning eventually to be able to bring 3D flying to X-Class size machines, which is a technical feat that I am deathly afraid of achieving. Yeah, so that's gonna be good, as well as working on the unicorn frame. The unicorn frame has been my baby for a long time, and I love flying it, but it hasn't been HD compatible up until recently with the Caddx Vista. So I'm gonna make a mount for the Vista for the frame and start flying the unicorn full time again, as well as Outcast Droneworks is working on custom purple pearlescent carbon fiber that glimmers and has a really deep, rich purple view to it. And then we'll be cutting custom unicorn frames here in San Diego. My frame design with carbon fiber that we make with out of our CNC shop, which is, I think, pretty freaking cool. And I'll be getting some new V2 2010 motors. If any of you know what the 2010 is, that was my motor design from back in 2015. For 3D. The idea being a taller stator has more torque with less diameter, meaning it could start and stop spinning a lot faster. And I made those with B-rotor, and then B-rotor, whatever. I won't go into that. But essentially, most of the motors I got from them had bad bearings and caused flight performance issues. But the new ones I'll be getting done with T-motor should be pretty freaking amazing, and I'm excited for them because a 2010 motor of high quality should be pretty amazing. And then on top of that, HQ Props has some new 3D propellers coming out. They just sent me some new prototypes I'm excited to test. While I wish they were purple, I'm still excited for them. So 3D flying is definitely going to be a focus of mine going forward, and I don't think that's ever going to change. I feel like I constantly get better at it. I constantly keep evolving as a pilot. My style of 3D has changed drastically over time. Went from being kind of a gimmick to being mind-bending, to being mind-blowing, to being what the F did I just see? And that's something that I'm want to keep pushing. And yeah, I'm hoping that the future is going to have a lot of amazingness in store for me, and hopefully everyone else that gets to share it with me. Um, no just yeah. So yeah, I think that kind of covers everything that's been on my mind. I've been really reflecting a lot the last few days, like on a lot of different things, stuff that I haven't even covered in this video. Um, like me being a part of the LGBT community. Like I'm afraid of being out to everybody and proudly out and advertising it because I don't know how people will take it. And I don't like being a political figure. I don't like people, putting stigmas on me because of it. Um, and at the same time, I realize I don't need to advertise it. I am who I am. And that's not going to change. Me saying anything is just whatever. I mean, I don't need to put labels on things. I don't have to, quote unquote, be out and proud. I'm out. I am who I am. I'm proud of myself. I don't have to be yelling it from the rooftops. And that honestly has been rough for me because it has been LGBT Pride Month. And it's made me, think about things. It's been like 10 years since I came out of the closet. Um, so yeah, there's a lot on my mind. Anyways, sorry if I got a little emotional in this video. Tends to happen at least once a year. Yeah, that's that video of the year. Thank you guys for listening and watching and being along with me for this journey in my life. I know I appreciate every one of you, every comment. I read every single comment. I try to respond to a lot of the messages. If you message me on Instagram or Facebook, I respond, and I appreciate getting those messages. It means people somewhere heard me say something. They want to interact with me. They want to, come along with me on this journey. And so I appreciate that. Every like my video gets brings my spirits up. Every view I enjoy because it means another person out there saw what I was making and enjoyed it / consumed it. So I just want to say thank you all. Like seriously, thank you for being there. I cannot really describe what it means. And hopefully 2020 will get better for everybody. And if not, hopefully 2021 is going to be a year of change that actually, is positive. Because I know it's been rough for a lot of people. And while I've had a lot of good things in my life, it's also been pretty rough for me in different ways. I think I can breathe now. Right on. So I just want to say thank you guys again for watching. I've been Zoe. Go check out my other videos. I've got hundreds of them at this point. Follow me on the Facebooks, Instagrams, all those things, whatever. It's social media. Do the things. If you anything, make sure you slap that like icon, and then leave a comment down below, because I enjoy them, and I appreciate them. So, without further ado, how do I turn this thing off? Is that what button?